Good morning, everyone. So today I'm going to help launch the new Designer's Choice for November from Tonic Studios. This is a sponsored video, and Tonic did send these items free of charge for my review, and all opinions are my own. And any links I have in the description box will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items through those links. This month's set is really, really gorgeous. It's called Luxurious Lace, and I was thinking about it. It's really pretty as an essential kind of die set, right? But it also will add, I think, a lot of extra to your cards or projects, albums, whatever, however you want to use them. So I'll show you those in just a second. Again, it's called Luxurious Lace. Really gorgeous. In the US, I believe the set is $19.99, and I think it's $2 shipping, but you can double check when you click the link there. It'll have the information. I also want to thank Tonic for saying this, because I've mentioned this to you guys before. This is the Designer's Choice case. So you can pick it up, and it's, obviously for Designer's Choice. They do have an orange case that is very similar, but this one is geared towards the Designer's Choice with all that wording there. So let me just open this up. It has a nice little label on the side there. You can write in whatever you like. And then, that's cute, a little carry handle. And then we have the zipper here. Okay. Cool, I was gonna say, it has some weight in here. I could feel that it was weighty. I wasn't sure why, but then I thought maybe there's magnetic sheets in here. So it has a few organizer, sheets here. But it also has several, looks like at the quick glance, 5 or 6, I suppose 6 magnetic sheets. So really cool. So you can, of course, the Designer's Choice does come with its own little envelope here, or I can't think of the name for this kind of thing. Anyway, pocket, and you can put it right in here, or you can take them off of this after you're done. After you're done using them after a while. We always place them back on the carrier, but you can just put them on your magnetic sheet, and they want to stick already. But there's that, so it gives it a little bit more sturdiness. So definitely check that. I'll have the link for both items in the description box. So as I look at this, I was like, what kinds of things can we do? I think there's a lot of cute things that we can do, and as you're looking at it, it might be hard to point out all the different dies. So this one just cuts into whatever paper or whatever you're using. This cute little design here. And let me close up. Maybe that'd be better if I stay down here. And then this one would cut out all these cute cute pieces. I don't say dimensional. That's not what I meant. I meant like geometric. And then this one does like a netting. And these are all cut into your paper, right? As you can see that. It doesn't cut away like a strip of lace or something. It's going to cut into your paper. So we have this here. And then we have this really large, beautiful scallop one. But then down here we have all these other gorgeous, more like intricate sets. Well, they're all pretty intricate. But that you can then cut away from. So you see this pairs up, these two, but these are two different dies. So we have this beautiful edge. But then you can also switch that out for, this one. Because it's still the same shape. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me show you here. Like, it's still the same design that can pop in there. So then I have a different edge. But then you can also use that one on this one over here. And the one that we just looked at can also go there. And then here we have this really pretty edge. It's a straight edge that you can also use on one of these, right? At the end of it, or on the other side of this. However you want to use this. This is a lot of mix and match. And I really appreciate that Tonic does that. I think that's fun, because there's always a lot of variability that we can do with this. So that's like a straighter edge. And then we have this one that looks like it's part of something, but it's on its own. Again, you can match it up with this edge. You can match it up with this one. It's going to be pointy. You can match it up with this one that's rounded if you use it the opposite way. So there's a lot of variability here. And then this one here, same thing. It's just nice and straight. So let's say you don't want it decorative like these two. Well, you have this nice and straight one. That's just like a smooth edge that you can, again, match up to these other ones, or however you want to use it. Again, this is kind of opposite of this guy. It'll cut a little bit different. And then we have all these other cool edges that you can still, mix and match, definitely. And then we have another scallop edge here that can go with this guy, that can go with this guy, that can go with this one, that can go with this one, or this straight edge. So you can just use it however you like. And then we even have some drop-ins for the areas that are recessed there, so the arches. So really, really cool, really diverse set of just everything in here. So what I'm going to do is grab some paper. I'm going to think about what I want to do, and we'll try it out. Alright guys, we're going to start with something just very simple. If you're a beginning crafter, maybe you aren't aware of how to use some of these, so I'm just going to do something very simple, and then we'll build up from there. Maybe we'll make a few different card bases. So, we got a little extra piece of paper on here. I really want to use this guy. I actually, well, I want to use all of them, but this one right here is super cute. So what I'm going to do is take just this scallop. And this one, if you look close, it has that cute little kind of lace look to it, but it also has a cutting edge. So this is going to cut the edge. It's not going to be like this one next door to it where it just cuts into your paper. As you can see, there's no cutting edge at the very end. Okay, so I'm going to use that one. And this is a standard A2 size card, 8.5 by 5.5. I think this is the ultra smooth, yeah, card stock. This one here. And I already scored it at 4 1/4, just so that you don't have to go and kind of, well, you can score it later. Obviously, you're still going to go to 4 1/4, but I just like to score it to begin with. So that's why it's already scored. But if you cut this and then score it, you know, you're just going to measure from the side that's not cut, obviously. So you get your good 4 1/4 measurement. And again, this is whatever you like. So I'm just going to eyeball that and stick that down. One thing I did not mention, and I always do, is how long these are, or the size of these. They're about 5.5 inches. I don't know if you can tell on my mat here. Let me see. 2, 3, 4, 5, and about a half, right? Just a little bit extra that's not going to cut. So great for your standard A2 size cards, or if you want to continue going, you would just have to line them up after you make a cut, line it up, make another cut, you know, keep going that way. And I'm just eyeballing this. I want the very edge almost to cut. Yeah, just about the very edge. So I'm going to put it right there. And then just run this through your cutting machine, your die cutting machine, and I'll be right back. This one. And this will make a nice card that you can build up whatever you like on. Look at how nicely that cut. And then just fold your card. Again, mine's already scored. But you can put it on your scoring board and score it again at 4 1/4 off the other side. And then you have a nice little card base with a cute edge that you can do something else with. So I have this piece of cardstock. This one is fuchsia pink classic cardstock. And I cut it at 3 3/4 by 5.5. So I still want the same height, but I'm going to cut an edge off of it. So, yeah, so let's do that. So I was thinking about just mimicking that edge. And so we can do it real basic. So I'm just going to take this one because this one mimics that same edge. And I'm going to trim this away from here. Now you can look at it and see how far it is that you want it down, you know, that's going to clear it. I just figured 3 3/4 was a nice size. So I'm going to go with that. And then just pop that on there. So I'm going to tape this down. As soon as I can let it go without moving, but there we go. And again, obviously want to keep it nice and straight. And I'm going to go ahead and trim this out, and I'll be right back. Here we have something that has a nice simple border. I'm going to try to remove this very carefully. Okay, sorry, I didn't know if you want to see me fighting with this tape here, but there we go. Okay. And now we have this cute edge that just kind of nestles in with what we just did. Hopefully you can see that. And, you know, if you want to bring it over here and you have a bigger gap, you want to bring it a little bit closer, you have an edge on both sides. However you want to do it. Again, it's up to you. If you want it a little bit wider, then instead of 3 3/4, maybe cut it at 4 inches and then do your scallop. However you like. Very simple edge here. And I'm going to leave it like this for this one because I wanted to show you how you can just do something simple and sweet. So I'll just glue this down. And on the next one, I'll have another card base cut just like this, and I'll show you something else we can do with this topper. So I already cut a card base, again, same standard A2 size, but I just used the simple border, but it'd be obviously really sweet with any combination of border there. And then this is cut at 5.5 by 4. I made it a little bit wider than the piece that we used earlier. And I think what I'm going to do is, oh, this is really pretty. They're all so pretty. Let's do this one. It's a little more elaborate there. And then we'll use this edge. Ooh, no, you know what? Let's use this edge. So it's going to be a lot of decoration on this one. Now, you can run just the edge by itself and then come back and do this one, but I think it's easier if you're going to kind of put them together. It's if they're together at the same time. You know, that way you have a really good idea of the spacing and everything. So I would leave it like this, but you really have to glue that, or glue it down, tape it down. So I'll get this through my machine and I'll be right back. Okay, and before you always pop out your dies, you always want to look at the back and just make sure it cut really, really well. Just in case you have to run a die through again, you just want to make sure everything's cut nicely before you remove it. So delicate and so pretty. Oh my goodness. And of course that's another thing, then you can just bring it over and line it up there. And then you have, you know, another area that you can scallop some more, another layer. Maybe we'll do that. But then you just, you know, build it up however you like. Really, really pretty. Okay, just to finish this one up, I'm going to insert a piece of cardstock that is about 5.5 by a little smaller than 4 1/4, just because whenever I put another mat inside a card, if you put it, make it exact same width, it might push it out and then it looks kind of funky. So it's like 4 1/8 inches, but it is 5.5. Just so that we have a little contrast between. There we go. There and here. And I'm going to put glue all down the edges here and then as well as I can here. Okay, I'll wait for this to set up and I'll be right back to show you what that looks like. Okay, so those are some of the more simple ways to use them just to make a really pretty card base that you can build off of. This one here I'm going to show. Hopefully, my plan is to show you how to make like a little split card that's going to be really sweet. So I just have our white card base here, and it is trimmed down to 4 1/4 by 11, and then scored at 5.5. So it's more of a long card, or a portrait, I suppose, card. And then I have some of this really pretty cardstock. I'll have the links to the cardstock in the description box if they are available, at least the names, because I'm using so many different ones. I don't recall all the names, but it is a really pretty soft pink cardstock. I think it came out, also was in the Rustic Rose kit, if I recall. But this is cut down to 4 by 5 1/4. So it's just gonna nest right over this. But we're not quite ready to stick that down. And then I have this really, really pretty paper, again from Tonic, but it's the heart paper that has, it's kind of like a handmade paper, you know, has that feel. Now what I did here was I went ahead and cut it 4 by 5 1/4, just so it would all be the same uniform when I cut it out. And then I cut this piece to 2 inches, so 2 inches, and then what's left over here is the other 3 1/4 inches, right? So it's 5 1/4 by 4. And I just split it because what I'm going to do is take one of the sets or dies that we haven't used yet. These all work out, but I think for my purposes right now, I think I'm going to use this one. And I'm just going to cut the edge. I'm not going to cut anything decorative into this because the paper's already pretty festive as it is. So all I'm going to do is take this and just cut off that bottom part of this one. And then I'll come back and I'll cut the top part of this one off. And it depends on how you want to split this. You can play with the numbers however you like. Again, I did 2 inches up here and 3 1/4 down here. But if you want to do, you know, right in the middle, this can make a little opening. And then we're going to do something with this paper so that you can see a word behind that opening. So, you know, it's up to you however you like. I do want the top to be a little smaller though, I think. In this bottom section. So that's kind of why I spliced it the way I did. And of course we're going to cut this whole piece away. And I am eyeballing kind of where we're at since it's a number I just came up with, you know, as far as where the die should go. So I'm kind of looking at this and trying to split the difference. So if you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 scallops. And I'm trying to get it so that where it starts going up here is where I'm splitting that difference, okay? And then the next time when I run this through, I'll do the same thing. But let me go ahead and run this through and I'll be right back. My top part. I do want to let you know, I put the tape more on the edge that's going to cut away because this is a very delicate paper, so I don't want it to tear or anything with that tape sticking to it. So do that very carefully. How pretty. Love it. So on this one, well, I'll just remove this and we'll do it over. We'll use a new tape. Same thing, again, I'm going to line it up basically the way I lined up the other one. I'm going to get a little closer to this edge though because I do want this whole bottom part here. And I'm just looking at it the way I did the top one, and that looks pretty good right there. I'm trying to keep it even. And we get a good amount of tape but up towards the top, and I'm going to run this through and I'll be right back. And there's our other piece. Super cute. So when I bring this back, we're going to layer this on here and this here. And this is what I was trying to eyeball. So what I'm going to do is probably cut off the extra a little extra off the top, just so we can have a little bit bigger aperture down here. And I cut off the bottom too, so let me think about what I want to do with that. But again, that's why I just start off with the same size, because I don't really know how much I was going to cut off and all that. So I'm going to adjust these, but again, just cutting it with a, you know, your trimmer until I'm happy with the opening size, and I'll be right back. So like I said, I just kind of eyeballed it. I cut about this much off of the top. See, a little bit, and then I cut a little bit more off just the top. And at the bottom I took a little bit off too. And this is the word I want to use. It's from the Rustic Rose kit that came out a little while ago. It's the word remember, and it cuts into your paper. So I just put this here. So again, if you want to stamp something, if you just want to die cut some words, or however you want to do it, you know, just work that out according to what you have. And so I'm going to remove this because that's where I want that word, and I'm going to definitely stick this down really well and run this through. And I'll be right back. Okay. So I'm being very careful. Since this is part of our design, we don't want to mess that up. There's the word remember popped in there. So all I'm going to do is glue down these pieces. And then I'm going to put, I think, a little ribbon or something. And then we'll attach our card base to our topper that we just made. So again, I'm just going to glue these down, and I'll be back. Okay, and I have just a little bit of organza ribbon that happened to be almost like the perfect color, like kind of peachy, kind of beigey color, and I'm gonna put this underneath, and I'm just gonna mess with this until I have a nice little bow that I'm happy with. And then we'll slide it into place, because I'm not going to put it down here. I'm going to slide it up a little bit higher. But again, just going to mess with this for a little bit, make a regular bow, and then probably pull it out. You know, adjust it however we need to. A lot of times you have to pull like this, pull it back, adjust it, do all that until I'm happy. I'll be right back. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to just crunch it up here. And I always like to kind of singe the edges of my bow, but I don't know where my lighter is at the moment. I don't see it here. I must have taken it to light a candle. So I'm just going to trim off the little bits here at an angle, because that always looks cuter. And that would normally singe those little edges. And then I'm just going to adhere this to this with my glue, and I'll be right back just to show you what that looks like. Glue there. And if you wanted to pop dot this, that would be great too. Just, you know, pop it up, but I think we have enough going on here. It's lovely just the way it is, nice and flat. And there's this one. I have one more idea on how to use these, and it's a little more involved, so hopefully we're gonna go through it kind of, you know, smoothly, because I did show you quite a few other ideas in the same video. I don't want to overwhelm y'all, but there's that. Super cute. Okay, so this last one is not difficult, so I'll probably just do the basic card, and then obviously you can decorate however you like. I was thinking about a gatefold. Now, a gatefold, normally if I wanted to, you know, I would just create the card and then I would cut the dies on either side, but it might be hard to line them up or however you want to do it. So what I'm going to do is something a little bit different. So we are going to make a 5-inch square card. So I have a 5-inch square card base just out of the white smooth cardstock here. I have a little bit of cardstock that I'm going to layer over that once we're in that stage of card making. So this is cut at 5 and not quite 5 inches square. It's a little bit smaller on one side. So I did like 5 by 4 7/8, okay? And I'll show you that. I did that for a reason. This is just a 5-inch square that we are going to end up trimming a little bit off after we do some cutting. But to begin, I wanted a 5-inch square piece. And then we have this piece that is 5 by 6 inches. Now what I'm going to do on either side of this is score it at 1/2 inch on either side, and I'll be right back. Okay, so if it's 6 inches in this direction, 5 obviously this way, when we score at the 1/2 inch, we're going to have a 5-inch square when we're done with our card. So what I'm going to do here is just split this. You can split it however you want, wherever you want. Do you want it down the middle? Do you want it over a little bit? I think over a little bit would be fun, just something different. Now let's look at our dies and see what we want to split it with. You know, this one just always calls to me, so I think I'm going to use this one. It'll be interesting because it has a scallop edge. And so does, you know, it's going to leave a scallop edge on this side, but this is going to be the negative side, I suppose you want to call it. Which is quite interesting because then we have these other pieces that we can nest in there. I wasn't thinking about doing that, but if you wanted to, you can nest these in here. I was just going to use this paper this other side here. Okay. So let's do that, and then you know, if you want a decorative piece, you can put it in here. But I was just going to just kind of think of what I want to do, and as I'm looking at this, so these layer up in so many different ways. I don't know if you can see. This goes into this one. This one can go into this one. This one also echoes this piece here. That echoes this piece. So like there is just a ton of ways to use these. That you can use that whole thing, I suppose. You know, if you wanted to cut it out on one piece of paper. So I'm gonna do this. It's gonna be a little different than what I had imagined, but I think this will be really pretty. So there's that. And we're going to tape this down very well. And go ahead and run this through your machine. And I will be right back, guys. Yeah. So I cut this so that we have a little bit, for me, I wanted it a little bit off-centered, but if you want to put it right down the center, it would probably be easier to work with when you go to matte, but that's up to you. So we have this piece, and we're going to cover that up anyway, so that's fine. And then this piece, I'm going to be very careful to remove this tape. Go. And I don't mind that it took off a little bit out there because we're going to mat it anyway, but look how pretty. Oh my gosh. Gorgeous. Okay, so now you see we split these in half, right? We start off with that 5x6, scored at 1/2 inch on either side, and it's going to open and close like this. So pretty. Now, since I changed my mind and I decided to do something different to add a little lace in here, we do have this die here that will nestle right in there, right? If I were to cut my mat. And then on the other side, I was going to use this one, and I was going to use this one on both. So all I was going to do was just split this piece of paper in half, and then have my side for this one and have my side for this one, or however. But now I'm using two different edges, so we're going to do a little something different. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and just kind of, if I had this here, I'm just going to eyeball where I would want this cut. You know, you can leave as much or little space in between these guys as you want. And then, of course, lined up. I would say about there. I'm going to tape this down. I'm going to run this through, and then this extra piece, I'm going to come back and run that one through on it. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so we have this guy. And again, I want to do this very carefully. All right, so it's going to pop in there. So it's kind of in here, okay? And then this other one, we're going to, again, take this piece, and I'm just going to run it through nice straight up and down on this side that's left over, and then I'm going to be able to have enough room to kind of trim some off the side if I need to. So I'm going to tape this down, remove this obviously, and then run that through, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have my pieces here, and as you can see that one, because we used a different scallop, this nestles into this, right? The edge of that. And this one looks like this because it's going to come in here. So it does look completely different on either side. It looks pretty cool. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and assemble our card. So we have that 5-inch card base. We have this piece here that we're just going to hold over and score. Now you can, you know, I'm going to adhere it just to this front piece, and that's why I cut this other piece that's going to cover that up. But if you want to adhere it to the back, you know, it'll be in the back. You can also put another piece of your cardstock on the back to cover that up, however you like to do it. And I'm just going to, again, put it on this inside part here. So I do like using a wet glue when I need something to stay for a long time, and I think this needs to stay especially well. So I'm going to glue that down. Just making sure it's nice and straight, and I'll do the same thing on the other side. Note, as you glue these down, make sure these close right into each other, because that's the whole point, right? That's what we took the care that we did to make that work. So there's that. And then I'm just going to take this. Again, I made it so it's just smaller than 5 inches in one direction and 5 inches. So 5 inches here, but just a little bit smaller in the width. And I'm going to adhere that to the inside. And I do that just because I don't want it, if it was the perfect 5-inch square nestled into another 5-inch square, it just might not fit exactly right. So I'm just keeping that there. And I'll be back once this is dry, and we'll mat up the front. All right, so that's the inside of the card. You can put whatever sentiment, however you want to use it. You know, leave it the way it is. That's what, however you like. Now, this is the part where I said that we're going to kind of look at this and decide how much we want to cut off of this back edge. So this one is almost basically where I want it. So I think that's what we'll do. leave this one alone at the size that it's at. And then this other one, we're gonna have to cut some down. So I'm just gonna glue that down. And then I'm gonna see, that's about, maybe, you know, you can just, I always like to eyeball things, but well, if we had this here, you know, just about there, I'll cut this excess off, which is about maybe 1/8 of an inch, not very much. I'm gonna cut off the edge and I'll be right back. Yep, and that's about it. So I'll adhere this and I'll come back to show you the different cards that we made again, and we'll check them out. Okay guys, so there are the cards and card bases we made today, from simple to, you know, a little more die cutting. This feels really sturdy, this card, I suppose, because all the different layers and things. This one, I feel like this one's pretty simple, but it packs a lot of punch with that cute little border there. And then, you know, play with it, just making up whatever it is that you like. You have a nice card base here to put a little sentiment, maybe across the middle here, or just when they open it up. Maybe if you wanted to put some ribbon, you can do that. And if you wanted to do that, you could sandwich it with the, if you had sandwiched the flaps in between here, and then put some ribbon before you sandwich that, and then you have some little ribbon ties. I mean, there's so much you can do, and that's not even a percent of what you can do with this. There's so many more dies on here that I didn't even touch today. So thanks for watching, guys. Thank you so much, Tonic, for saying this for my review, for sponsoring this video, and I will see you guys at the next one. Links will be there in the description box, and bye now.